A decade ago, I believed that my life was flawless. I had a job that paid a high six-figure salary, a stunning spouse, a tidy home, 2 brand-new vehicles, and a baby on the way. My work brought me immense joy, and I excelled at it, providing me with much-needed stability. My wife adored me for who I am, overlooking my imperfections as I endeavored to enhance myself. I treasured her, and it seemed that we were perfect for each other. Everyone praised us and envied our relationship and everything we had. Relationships and life got better and better. I continued to get promotions, 3 children were born. Gradually, we moved from an ordinary house to an exceptionally luxurious one. My wife succeeded in her career as an optometrist, and we went on exciting vacations every year. I believed that I had everything I could wish for. I'm not sure what sparked it, but in the beginning of 2015, I purchased a Tesla for my wife's birthday. She hadn't acquired a new vehicle since 2008, while I continued to purchase new cars, so I decided to surprise her. She was ecstatic and expressed her love for me. I recall spending the entirety of that day taking rides in the Tesla and learning how to operate all of its features. Unfortunately, it was all downhill from there. I'm unsure what caused it, but in the months that followed, she began to distance herself from not only me, but also from our children. My eldest child, a 10-year-old girl, was particularly hurt by this, and she often tried to start conversations with her mother in order to captivate her. Some days she was successful and her mother was friendly, and other days it had the opposite effect. For the first time, I suspected that I had ceased to be the main thing for my wife in July 2016, when I noticed that she stopped attending yoga classes, although she told me about it. We had a shared phone plan that allowed us to track each other's location. One day, while browsing the app, I noticed that my wife was in someone's house. Since she was strangely angry the day before she left, I didn't ask her about it when she returned from yoga. Instead, I decided to keep a close eye on her whereabouts during yoga classes. I found that she always ended up in the same house, located in a well-to-do neighborhood that was a little north of the city and probably a step above ours. I was about to come into conflict with her when I noticed that she had resumed attending yoga classes. During this period of time, she became more and more distant and sullen. My whole family has been watching this behavior for over a year, but I've reached my limit. I asked her what was going on. She ignored me, and when I asked where yoga classes were, she accused me of harassment, invasion of her privacy, and that I was a complete jerk. Then I asked her a question that was bothering me. "Are you cheating on me?" She denied it, of course. In the weeks that followed, there was a clear sense of distrust, animosity, and outright anger towards me. It was evident that she knew I had discovered the truth and was now attempting to play the victim card by claiming that she couldn't believe that I would think such a thing. I saw through her act. When she eventually confessed to sleeping with another man, I made a mistake by forgiving her. She professed her love for me and our family, and I naively believed her. I thought that she could change, but I was mistaken. We attempted marriage counseling and taking time for ourselves as adults. It appeared that our efforts were effective, and we were content. She was genuinely enjoying herself, and it felt like I had regained the woman I once knew. I was relieved, and it allowed me to focus more on my children and work, resulting in less overall stress. During a business trip to San Diego, which is on the west coast of the United States while I live on the east coast, my colleague became ill, and we were forced to reschedule our meetings with clients. It was inconvenient, but we managed to catch the next flight home. I'm not sure why I didn't inform her that I was coming home, but I simply didn't. Perhaps I wanted to surprise her. When I pulled into the driveway, the only surprise I received was seeing a Ford SUV in my garage and discovering not one but 2 men in bed with my wife. This all occurred yesterday, and I'm finally putting it into words. My wife began to babble frantically, attempting to explain, but I didn't hear a word of it. I left my room, went to the basement, and poured myself a drink. I could hear the men leaving upstairs, and when I returned, my wife was sitting there looking crestfallen with a sad smile on her face. She began to speak, but I interrupted her. I told her to leave. I told her to leave my house and assured her that I would return her things to her by the end of the week. She tried to use our children as leverage, but I reached my limit. Although I'm grieving, it's not because of her. I am sad for my children and worried for the next person she will encounter. I will fiercely protect my children, but most of all, I am afraid of losing them. I know that the judicial system tends to give preference to mothers, and I hope to come to terms with this reality. For the last 3 years, I have been trying to rebuild our marriage for the sake of our family, but all my efforts have been fruitless. This morning, I informed my children about the situation, and they inquired about their mother's absence last night. I allowed them to stay home from school today, and they are currently together upstairs. This entire ordeal is devastating for everyone involved, and it could have been avoided altogether. I do not feel sorry for my wife, and I desire for her to be known as a cheater for the rest of her life. I want her to face the consequences of her actions and for people to be aware of her infidelity. She is a well-known optometrist in our locality, and her business may suffer if the news spreads, which it probably will. Update. Hello again. I'm not sure if you recall me, but I shared my story here about 2 months ago regarding how my wife's infidelity impacted our family. It was a very trying time for me. As of July 13th, 2018, our civil court case has officially concluded, and I emerged victorious. The legal process was relatively quick and uncomplicated. I hope this update does not contravene any rules, and if it does, the moderators are free to remove it. I received a lot of positive encouragement from my previous post, and I felt that it was my responsibility to provide an update. If you don't want to read the long paragraphs, please feel free to skip them. In summary, 2 months ago I returned from a business trip to discover my wife in bed with 2 men. She had been intentionally deceiving our family for several years, and I had previously caught her cheating with someone much older and wealthier than me. After ordering her to leave, she became aggressive and threatened to take my children away from me. Needless to say, I was extremely worried at this point. I've heard numerous horror stories about mothers always receiving favorable outcomes in court, so I was uncertain about what to anticipate. This summer, I had to take a break from work because I was persistently unwell and couldn't bear the idea of my ex-wife caring for our children. If my children grow up to be anything like her, I will consider myself a failure as a parent. I submitted my request for full custody and initiated divorce proceedings on May 21st, 2018. Initially, my co-worker offered to assist me with my legal case pro bono after learning about my situation. But I felt uneasy about accepting his help and ended up hiring him as my lawyer. We worked together to collect evidence for my case, including my phone records and her phone location data. The court proceedings commenced on July 12th, the week after my children and I returned from vacation. Although my lawyer advised against taking them out of state, it was a pleasant little diversion. Despite my request for my 10-year-old daughter to be spared the ordeal, both lawyers questioned her during the proceedings. To my surprise, she appeared to be emotionally resilient enough to handle it. She disclosed that my ex-wife had been challenging and paranoid over the past year, but she had learned to cope with it, which is something no child should have to endure. The turning point in the proceedings was when she revealed my ex-wife's plan to relocate to Southern California, which would necessitate the children being uprooted. As a result, my children chose to live with me. Although my ex-wife's lawyer tried to claim that I influenced the children's decision, it was obvious that they preferred to stay in their current home, with their friends and school. The court ruled in my favor, granting me full custody of the children. They can visit their mother whenever they want, provided that their stay without me will not exceed 14 days. Furthermore, the court has barred her from entering any of my properties, including our residence in South Carolina, my land in Boulder, and any office buildings owned by my company. Additionally, my parents and immediate family members have also requested that she stay away from their homes. In the end, I feel a great sense of relief. This is the least stressed I've been in the past 3 years. Although it's saddening that my marriage failed, I've come to realize that I am not to blame. For the next few years, I plan to focus on myself and my children. It's remarkable that what began as a tragic story ended up with a positive outcome. Wow, OP, great story. I'm really glad, you. But let's hear the following story. As a 28-year-old man, I've been in a relationship with my 25-year-old girlfriend for nearly 2 years. Our relationship was going well until she informed me that she's expecting a baby. While I try to be cautious, she assured me that she was using birth control. Initially, I was hesitant, but I went along with it and attended the appointment. I came to the realization that this was just one of those things. Despite this not being the way I envisioned starting a family, I was thrilled nonetheless, as I've always wanted one. We've now surpassed the first trimester, and at her request, she's moved in with me as we search for a new home. But I missed a red flag. We're currently making plans regarding our careers and preparing the baby's room. Although she's adamant about returning to work, she's convinced she can balance it with being a stay-at-home mom. I accompany her to every appointment, and things are still going well. As we enter the 3rd trimester, I make it a priority to attend every appointment with my girlfriend. I've managed to adjust my schedule to make this possible. During one appointment, she requests that I wait outside so she can speak with the doctor privately. I become worried that there may be a problem with the baby and she doesn't want me to hear. When I'm finally allowed in, the checkup has already concluded, and thankfully everything appears to be fine. I express my concern to my girlfriend about why I wasn't allowed to be present for the entire appointment, but she dismisses it. There's another warning sign. With the due date only a month and a half away, my girlfriend has been acting strangely, keeping her phone calls and texts secret under the guise of work confidentiality. I become suspicious and try to sneak a peek at her phone, discovering she has Snapchat and Kik. Although I don't confront her, I can't shake the feeling that something is off. When the baby is finally born, I am filled with joy and relief that everything went smoothly. My girlfriend becomes extremely insistent that I add my name to the birth certificate. She's been incessantly nagging me to add my name to the birth certificate, displaying a level of anxiety I've never seen before. It's becoming increasingly clear that this is another warning sign I shouldn't ignore. Despite her persistence, I refuse to do it, causing an argument between us. She eventually stops pushing, perhaps realizing how suspicious it appears. Once we return home, she has to attend to the baby, and I take the opportunity to snoop through her phone. To my surprise, it's still unlocked, and I begin scouring through her calls and texts. Upon snooping through her phone, I stumble upon an entire conversation on Kik with another guy, filled with updates on her appointments and pictures of her and the baby. Then, I come across the most damning evidence of all. The place where she confesses to thinking he's the father. I confront her about it, and she apologizes while admitting that the baby could be mine or someone else's, but she thinks it's mine. I demand a paternity test and storm out. A week has passed since our confrontation, and I finally received the results yesterday, which confirmed that the baby isn't mine. She's since moved in with her mother. And here's the kicker. After conducting extensive research with only usernames to go by, I discovered that she had been conversing with another man as well. As it turns out, the father of her child is none other than her boss, who happens to be married with 4 children in middle and high school. The reason for her secretive behavior was to keep the affair hidden from him. I managed to find the boss's wife on Facebook and shared everything I had, including texts from my girlfriend admitting that the child is his. I'm devastated in so many ways. Although I'm fortunate in some respects, I'm incredibly hurt. This experience has completely altered my perspective, leaving me feeling bitter, angry, and untrusting. I have no idea how to recover from this.